I wanted to share with you my story about how I learned about my soul purpose. For many years, most of my life, I felt very lost, really didn't know who I was, why I was here, had this yearning, this call to feel like I had something really big and important to do, but feeling so lost in the way of finding out what it was. And I would go from this class or this major or this field of study, and I just could never really find what really pulled me into action. I like to consider myself a Jackie of all trades, a master of none. And that really gave me this feeling of helplessness. And it led to many years feeling depressed about feeling so lost and just wanting to know what my purpose was in this life and on this planet. And it wasn't until I discovered astrology. When I discovered astrology, I really made sense as to why I could not figure out who I was and why I was here. Because, just as a side note, I have Chiron in Aries, the wounded healer, wounded around identity in the 10th house of how I show up in the public world and contribute my gifts, skills, and talents. So it made so much sense when I finally understood the language of astrology to realize what my journey was about, what that feeling lost was really all about. I really needed to experience it in my bones, in my blood, so that I could be so fueled with passion to help others find their soul purpose and who they really are. And so that became my mission, and it actually became my soul purpose, to light others on fire, to help them see who they are, all their gifts, all their skills, all their talents, and to put that into the framework of what their natal chart says is their soul purpose, where they shine their light the brightest, where their soul wants to expand and grow. And in that process is the greatest gift that one could give to the community, to the world, to the greater good. And so I had taken a lot of astrology classes, had my chart read multiple times. This was in my 20s. And I still I would get books and readings and it would make sense for a moment and then I would fall flat. Make sense for a moment and I would fall flat. But what happened for me, and I'm sure this is similar story to most of you, is there were times in life that you have to go through what we like to call life lessons. And so I can tell you at these key pivotal times of my Saturn journey around my chart, these are my life lessons that had to be experienced, had to be fulfilled in order for me to really open up the doorway to my soul's purpose. And so there's a couple of things that I could share in a longer version of this video. And when you join the Lunar Ladies community, we get to share our stories and we get to find out why things happened the way they did and why, in retrospect, it makes so much sense. So for me, with the positioning of the planets in my chart, especially my Chiron, not knowing who I am and that being my wound to heal, but I had the personality makeup of the soul known as Shannon. She carries the medicine. And with my Saturn being connected to my soul's purpose, I had a karmic agreement with helping others find theirs. And I had to take these life lessons around Saturn, my Saturn return, my Saturn, squares and oppositions, and then allowing, because my Saturn was in my 11th house, naturally ruled by Uranus. It wasn't until my Uranus opposition that things really lit on fire. And what helped me really connect to the language of astrology was my experience swimming with wild dolphins. And I've led several retreats, 6 in total so far. And what happened was that I woke up. They helped me find my soul purpose. They taught me so much about what it's like to live on this planet, how the power of the pod and the power of following the moon. They were actually my astral dream teachers that showed me how to read astrology charts and to help people find their soul purpose through their natal charts. So power to the dolphins. And needless to say, I have multiple logged swims with these wild dolphins that my physical body received so much sonar that my brain was finally hemi-synced to the place where I could fully understand the power of astrology and turn that switch on so that it switched on in me so that I could switch it on in you. So when you have an astrology reading with me and join me in the Lunar Ladies Club and the community, what I'm doing on an energetic level is giving you sonar. I'm sonaring you to hemisync your brain to switch on that soul purpose activation switch. So that's what makes me different. That's what makes the Lunar Ladies different. It's sanctioned, it's sponsored, it's healed, it's activated and turned on by a whole other force field that lives within the hemi-synced brain and the soul vibration of the wild dolphins. So it comes from another place and it comes from a higher dimension. And so that's why I wanted to share with you just a part of my story so that if you're feeling lost, you will be found. And I have the energetic vibration to help you find your way. I've got that magic flashlight. You've got your chart. The dolphin showed me how to read it, and together we can activate your purpose on this planet to help the whole of humanity rise and ascend into a higher frequency of unconditional love and divine oneness.